my nurses that have graduated. Honestly, let's take a moment just to say congratulations to the graduates of 2024. I've been seeing all your pictures. It's on your TikToks, your Instagrams, Facebook. I literally have been stalking a lot of you, and a few of you are actually viewers of this channel and subscribers. So a huge congratulations to you guys. I am so proud of you. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute. We're not even gonna focus on that. We are moving on from that. 2024 it's all in the past now. We're moving on. So if you haven't seen the previous video that I did on the SANC news, I would definitely suggest you watch that, because I'm going to be referencing a few things that I mentioned in that video. Then obviously I'm going to be updating you on the circulars that have come after. I think October was the last circular that I covered in the previous video. So the first circular, which is circular 11 of 2024, is obviously SANC is letting us know when they're going to be closing for the year. So they'll be closed from Monday the 23rd of December at 12, and then they'll reopen Friday 3 January at 8 o'clock. So please make sure that if you haven't paid your annual fees, that you do it before the 23rd. If you're not doing an immediate payment, because it's going to take 3 days for it to reflect on SANC's side, and then they're going to need at least another 2 days for it to show up on your e-register, because the closing date for your annual fees is the 31st of December. And if you have not paid your annual fees by then they're going to require you to pay a whole restoration fee, which just means that you haven't paid your annual fees and you kind of letting SANC know that you don't want to be qualified practitioner, etc. And then they remove you on the register. Then you have to pay a fee for them to put it back. It's just too much headache. So please make sure that you have paid your annual fees. The next circular is circular 12 of 2024, which is the South African Nursing Council Examination Schedule of 2025. So in the previous video that I did about these SANC circulars, SANC announced that obviously for current nursing students and those that are going to be graduating in the next couple of years or so, they have put a pause on the SANC exam that you're going to be doing. However, for nurses that are registered outside of South Africa that want to now practice in South Africa, there's an entrance exam that they still have to write. And the most important things that they were highlighting is obviously you must make sure that you've applied in time, because there's different exams at different times in the year and there's closing dates for all of them. I'll speak about that in a bit. And also make sure that you've completed the forms that go with it. Make sure that you have a SANC reference number, because you need to put it on all the documentation that you're going to be doing. And there's also a SANC examination fee that you have to make, and there's also a specific reference code that you have to use for those payments. So if you're going to be registering yourself with the South African Nursing Council coming from another country, please make sure that you're following all of these, and I will definitely link all of these circulars down below so you can just have a record of it. And also please be aware of the dates. I know the first exam that is there is on the 14th of March, and the closing date was actually 7 December. So if you wanted that one early, that one is passed, and then I think the next one is in July, but I'll put a screenshot here of those dates. So please make sure that you're looking at that circular if you're a foreign national who wants to be registered with the South African Nursing Council, so that you know when your date for your exam is, when is the closing date to apply for that examination. And also please be aware that if the South African Nursing Council does not have enough students, or they do not have a venue for a specific examination, they can actually cancel that examination and you have to write either at a later time or in a different area. So please just be aware of that. And then the last circular of 2024 is circular 13, where South African Nursing Council is repeating themselves again. They're letting you know when they're closing, which is the 23rd of December, and also they are just reminding you of the deadlines for your annual practicing licenses. And also, once you have paid your annual practicing fees, SANC will issue receipts out to everyone. But if you have not received your receipt, SANC will update the e-register to show you that you are registered for the following year. So if your employer or your agency wants you to give proof to them that you are registered for the following year, you can just tell them they can use the e-register, either use your SANC number or your ID, your passport number, to look for your information, and it will all be there, so they don't have to wait for the receipt. And also, just advice to those that are working with agencies, make sure that whatever agency you are with, just check with them if they do pay your SANC fees or not, especially for next year, because this year my agency paid for it, and I think they did it around August, September, and it was such a lifesaver. Like, I didn't even have to think, I didn't even have to worry about anything. My agency was like, okay, are we deducting money from your wage, since it's weekly? Are we deducting money from your wage to pay for the SANC fees? I'm like, yes, absolutely, do it. They did a once-off payment where they deducted from my money, and I even forgot about it. And then I think like 2 months later, then they brought me my receipt. They actually received it from SANC. So if your agency does that, trust me, make use of that. It's a game changer. It makes your life so much easier. So yeah, those are the 3 last circulars that SANC has released for 2024. I think I'm going to be doing this every year, like I'll say in June and then end of December, just to keep you guys up to date with all the news that SANC releases, because trust me, it is a lot of reading and it's quite tedious, but you must still be aware of this information. So the last 2 things that I want to discuss, they're not SANC circulars, but it is a newsletter that SANC releases, and they call it #sancnews. And I thought it was interesting just to share with you guys some history and what's happening within SANC. So the first one is SANC has released a new strategic plan and an annual performance plan for the next 5 years, because they had one for the last 5 years, and funny enough, it expired this year. So they've released a new one. The 5-year strategic plan is sort of the goals that SANC has for the nursing professions, how they're going to make sure that their nurses are adequately trained, making sure South Africa has nurses that are practicing safely. So for example, the CPD points thing that they've started, I think last year June, that is part of their strategic plan. And then their annual performance plan is how they're going to check that it's working correctly. So that's all the signatures that we have to do, all the handover that they're getting from the hospitals, that will form part of the performance plan, so that SANC knows that, okay, this is the goals that we have, and this is how we're going to check that we are accomplishing this. So I think it's really cool for you to just go and read through it and to see what kind of plan SANC has. I know the CPD one is a very important one that they have right now, which I totally understand that, you know, as nurses, we need to continually be improving our skills and the knowledge that we're using to practice nursing, so that we're not using things that, you know, you learned in 2022 and there's, you know, updated things that are coming in 2025 and that sort of thing. So thought that was interesting. And the last interesting thing that I want to share with you guys is that SANC has reached 80 years of self-regulation. So SANC started being self-regulated on the 8th of November 1944. If you saw way back, I think almost 4 or 5 years ago when I started the channel, I did a video on the history of nursing. So I would definitely suggest you check that out. That video is really cool. With the history of nursing, you would have seen that when nurses started, they were under the governing body of the medical doctors. So we're still same under medical doctors and nurses. And in most cases, our grievances were not being taken adequately, because, you know, you've got nurses and doctors. We have very different ways of functioning. So on the 8th of November 1944, that was the first time that, you know, SANC came to be, and we were able to regulate on, okay, how are nurses trained, how is the Nursing Act going to become in, and we are now separated from how doctors are. So that's why doctors, they will have the I think they fall under the HPCSA, and then we have our own council that we fall under, because, you know, how we function as nurses is different to doctors. So I think it's really amazing that we've come this far, that it's been 80 years that we've been able to govern ourselves and have a professional body that just focuses on us as nurses, and for them to be able to put all these plans into motion. And yeah, these things include setting educational standards for nursing programs, licensing nurses, establishing professional conduct, ensuring ongoing competencies through CPD, etc. So yeah, so I thought it was just really cool just to share these things with you guys. Obviously, the most important thing is please make sure that you're paying your and join nursing licenses, and also for you guys to be aware that we've really been self-governed for the past 80 years, and this is an awesome milestone that we have reached. So that is all for this video. These are all the SANC circulars that I did not cover. So if you have not seen the previous video, I would definitely suggest that you click over here and watch that. And if you want to know more about the history of nursing, you can definitely check this other video out. So until next Friday, 12 p.m. South African time, have an awesome one. Bye guys.